Hello and welcome to episode 92 of the Boot Nerds podcast. JayMike, what's up, bud?
Another day, another release. I am good. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I just realized I sounded very Canadian there with throwing in the bud.
Mate, you always do. I'm always good on you. I never tell you, but you always do.
Okay, great. That's good. That doesn't upset me in any way at all.
All the oot and a boot, all that stuff. Yeah, it's very Canadian. And the A, it's very, very Canadian.
I try to catch myself doing that. I feel like I don't do it that much, but maybe I do. I don't know.
You do it a lot. it's the way it is. It's nice, but again, I probably say a lot of stuff that's very like Danish, English, Danglish, as we call it. So yeah, I shouldn't talk.
I would say you say some moderately weird things.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, that's good. Hey, but anyways, Josh, I'm glad that you're good. Today we're going to talk about the latest and greatest from Puma, the Puma Future Z or the Puma Future Z, wherever you are in the world. It's a new future. A lot has happened. Neymar's been wearing it as of the other day in the Champions League. That was a bit of a controversial first outing for the boot, not because of, it didn't really have anything to do with Neymar or the boot, but that was just a crazy match. So I figured let's just go over what we think about the futures here, and you can get your "I told you so" moment. Speaking of how you didn't think Neymar was going to stay in the Kings. I'm just going to put on record, I've known all the time that he wasn't going to stay in the Kings, but I couldn't really say that. So
yeah, I mean, again, I don't think it was that unpredictable. It seemed kind of obvious what they were going to do.
You can say I told you so.
You can, okay, I told you so. But before we get this episode started, if you do have any questions potentially about the Future Z, which, by the way, can I just shout out to Puma for now having a boot that people can correct me on two different aspects of the name, where they can complain about how I say Puma and they can also complain about the Z part. Can't wait.
You say Puma right. You say Puma the right way now.
I know, but the Brits seem to think it's Puma.
Oh, but the Brits are wrong. It's Puma.
I know.
It's a German name. It's Puma.
Come after me for how I say Adidas all you want. Don't come after me for Puma.
No, you're good on that.
But the Z and Z thing, I can't wait. That's going to be another crazy argument down below in the comment section. But if you do have a question about the Puma Future Z, or just a question for us to answer potentially in the next episode of the Boot Nerds podcast, feel free to ask it down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoy the Boot Nerds podcast, we're now 92 episodes in, unbelievably enough. Please support it with a like. We greatly appreciate all of you that watch week in, week out. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, do you want to plug it now or later?
I might as well just throw it in there. PureGripSocks.com if you're interested in the most affordable grip socks on the market and or need some sleeves to pair with your either Pure Grip socks or any other grip socks that you happen to like. They're available for just $9.99 a pair. Multiple colorways of both PureGripSocks.com. It'll be linked down below. That was automatic.
That was pretty automatic.
I don't have a script.
Well, you've said it a lot. So yeah, kudos for that. Then that's also out of the way. Puma Future Z or Z, whatever we want to call it, a completely new direction for Puma. Really, with they've said goodbye to NetFit, and it's something we've kind of NetFit's something that we've just gotten used to. I think it's been on the Futures ever since the first 17.1 in different variations, different executions, but it's just kind of always been there on the Future. Now it's gone. Because no one, I don't know about you, but I never used it. I've never seen pros actually use it because it was a little bit like it just took time to do, and it was nice. But once I had kind of made my configuration, I never changed it. So now instead they've made this Fuzionfit band, which is essentially a seatbelt for your foot. So think Nitro Charge, what they did. Let me just get the boots. You can just give your first impression of it while I get them.
Okay, so I made a post on Instagram about the Future Z, and the immediate response was, oh my gosh, they got rid of NetFit. And I think there's an argument to be made that NetFit was probably kind of being phased out in this previous generation of Future when they went with knitted uppers, 5.1 and 6.1, because while they did include a net fit system, the net fit system had been diminished to the point where it really almost didn't need to be there anymore. Would you agree that the 5.1 and the 6.1 already kind of started phasing out net fit, Jay?
Yeah, I would say that's not that's not completely outrageous to say. I mean, they definitely toned down the amount of holes you had for NetFit compared to the first couple of generations. So it's kind of like they were just, easing off with it and phasing out is a good term, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
and I think what's interesting about the new Future Z is while it does bear the Future name, and I guess is technically a continuation of the Future line, it almost has nothing in common with the outgoing Future. There's not a lot that carries over.
Nah, and I think this is maybe a little bit of the misconception around the Future silo, that this is not a silo built around fit. Or, well, the new one is also built around fit, but it doesn't have the same universal purpose as a Mercurial. A Mercurial always has to be about speed, but as I see it, the Future has been about, pushing the boundaries of technology, maybe making a football boot that just fits you extremely well with whatever technology Puma have at the moment that is best. So, they found out that NetFit was really cool. They had that from their running shoes. But then they realized, okay, maybe there's something to it when Jay and Josh talk about adaptive lockdown. I mean, we've been going on about this for ages, haven't we? We'll take 10%, Puma, by the way. You're welcome. But they realized, okay, this adaptive lockdown, players need something to give them the right amount of hold, structure in the midfoot, but with something that's still very comfortable. Not that NetFit wasn't, but this is a different approach. And I think it's, this is what the Future is. It's a vessel of the latest technology while still having focus on a solid fitting football boot.
Yeah, it to me, I haven't tried the boots yet as we're making this podcast. And by the time this podcast goes up, I probably will have tried them. It's a difficult thing for me to predict, because if we do compare this to what the Nitro Charge did, which is what a lot of people want to do, because it's this band across the foot. First off, the band is in a very different spot to where the Nitro Charge had it. That was much further forward in the forefoot. It's just not the same thing. And the band was actually structured on the Nitro Charge, where it seems to be kind of the opposite type of situation on the Future Z, where I know they're talking about it being this adaptive lockdown, but it's a stretchy element, which typically does not. That's a lockdown element in a laceless boot, not necessarily a lockdown element in the traditional sense. I still think that the structure and the lockdown is going to come from tying the laces tight. And I did watch your review, and you did mention that it's probably the best Future in terms of actually being usable in laceless mode, if we want to call it that. And that makes sense given what they've done through the midfoot there. So I guess if you've always wanted a more true laceless boot from Puma, this is maybe your opportunity for that. But I think for me, what I'm anticipating from this boot is more of a comfort element with that band through the midfoot than an actual lockdown and structure element. Because I kind of like the idea of me being slightly flat-footed and typically struggling with maybe the upper grabbing the arch of my foot a little bit too tightly, which can be uncomfortable. This is going to allow it to really just stretch around that area of my foot and still hug your foot snugly, but not squeeze it. And then again, you're kind of just relying on the structure of the upper and the lacing system to hold your foot in place. So it's an interesting concept. I'm skeptical because it's a weird way of lacing up the boot, because they've effectively taken the laces away from what is arguably the most critical area. It's a very weird design, but it's interesting.
But this is where Fuzionfit comes in. It allows them to actually reduce the amount of lacing holes you have right there. And I hear what you're saying. The experience I had with the boot was that it actually went in and added some. It felt mostly like compression. So it's definitely stretchy, but it's tighter than knit or this area. It's definitely tighter. There's more hole in it, and it feels like it holds the foot but without squeezing it. So initially, the first couple of samples were really very aggressive, and they looked funny. And also my fear was that they would just go in and crush your feet. And these are gonna stay in place no matter what. And just, like it would get borderline uncomfortable. It's not the case. It's very nice and again, adaptive. And it feels like, if you have a slim foot like me, cool. It really hugs the foot, but I can imagine it also stretches nicely to fit your flatter feet as well. No complaints there. And the lockdown is definitely solid. It helps to have the lace. It helps a lot. But I think it's a nice element. My thing with the Future Z, as I said in my review, if you've seen that already, well, you already know what I'm going to say. But it doesn't make the fit as spectacular. It's like, yes, it's nice, but it doesn't have that extra thing that other modern boots do. It's super comfortable, no questions about that. Vamp toe box is so soft. There's no structure to the material, for good and bad. It's like a really well-worn, broken-in piece of leather. Like really, really soft and comfortable. Evo knit sock is nice, but I'm just lacking that wow factor. So would I be mad if I had to wear this for a full season? Absolutely not. It's a great football boot, 200 euros. Awesome. When they fix the texturing issue on the inline model. After all, this is just a teaser boot. But it's a very interesting thing, but I'm just lacking something on top of Fuzionfit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's. I think why Future had such a big impact when it first launched is because it was such a unique concept, and this is in a way a unique concept in terms of how it's designed. It's not unlike anything we've ever seen before, but you're right. I don't know that there's going to be enough here as like a standalone flagship product to really get people excited. And they're really, really pushing the Neymar angle. That's what they are banking on. And I really appreciate, I feel like most people who watch the Boot Nerds podcast know this, but they tried to really spin it like, oh, we designed this boot specifically for Neymar, even though we pretty much already finalized the design and had pros training in them before Neymar was even signed to the brand.
Yeah.
I like that. Again, that's marketing. You're going to expect that from pretty much any brand.
Sure.
It's I don't know. We'll see how popular it ends up being, because I think what I'm most excited to find out about this boot is the comfort aspect, because for me, that's what's been so great about the Future, bar the 4.1 and the 19.1. But I think the 5.1 and 6.1 that this replaces, really super one of the most comfortable boots on the market. So I'm hoping that the Future Z is at least on par with that.
I think you'll find a really, really wide footed people will find that the Z or the Z is definitely slimmer. That's at least what I felt. It's not as wide. Puma say it's built on the same last, and I can, I trust them when they say that, but it just feels like the fit is very different on my foot at least. It also, as I said in my review, feels a little longer, and I didn't get it because, it's the same size, built on the same last. It doesn't make sense. I even compared the length of the insoles, and it is like a couple of millimeters longer in the Future Z, and the 5.1 is already a little bit long for me. So that puzzled me a little bit. But if you can get the length right, I would consider going down half a size, unless you have a really wide foot. If you can do that, wildly comfortable. Even being slightly long for me, wildly comfortable. No questions asked. But yeah, the fit is definitely different to the previous Futures. And is it a good boot for 200 euros? It's there's still a whole lot of quality in this one, and I would prefer this to the 6.1s, personally at least. I'm excited to hear what you think when you actually have them in hand. Because it's very different. It's more toned down. It's more like there's less boot, but for me, that's for the better.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of impact it has. I think what's interesting is it's kind of, not to talk about socks all the time on the podcast, which seems to be a popular topic, but it's kind of designed like a pair of socks, right? Where you have this band through the middle, which is providing your tension. And basically, when you talk about lockdown and responsiveness from a pair of football boot, that's typically going to come from the shape, which of course is the fit, and it's going to come from the amount of structure that you get from the upper, which is going to be the physical material itself, as well as the lockdown system, which in this case is actual laces, should you choose to wear them with laces. And for me, it's kind of an interesting design that the structure is coming from the white bits of the upper on this particular colorway, and then the neon yellow band through the middle is the stretchy part, where it's theoretically not going to provide as much lockdown because it stretches. It's an interesting way of making a football boot. And I think it's one of those things that, again, I think if you struggle with maybe having too much pressure through the midfoot area, this is going to be a really comfortable option for you. Also, the most clearly labeled football boot of 2020.
Absolutely. I reckon it looks pretty cool. I think you said that having problems with tightness around the midfoot, it depends also on your foot shape, because there is extra tension, there is extra hold around the midfoot, even for my slim foot. So I had to get used to it. It didn't take me long, but it's something that I would say before you take it into a match, try it on, see if your foot is able to cope with the Fuzionfit system, because it might not fit everyone's foot. In general, I think most people, it's one of those boots that I would say is difficult to hate on. It's difficult to be mad at, to quote a good friend. But it's also a boot that doesn't stand out as much as the Ultras, for instance.
Yeah, look, I hate to pass judgment on a boot that I haven't even tried yet, but and this seems to be the general response amongst a lot of people who are seeing the boots for the first time, is that they played it safe. Like it is a significant redesign to the Puma Future, but you're right. There's not really a huge standout feature other than that band, which I don't think people are going to look at as this like groundbreaking thing. It's similar to like the Nike Phantom GT this year, right? Great boot. Not really many problems with it, but Nike knew that they were going to put out a boot that was going to be generally well liked, and I feel like Puma has kind of done that. And look, if you look at their lineup right now, between this, the King Platinum, and the Ultra, it still kind of sets itself apart as being something that is dramatically different than their other two options, which I'm happy about. I hate seeing, kind of like what we're seeing from Nike right now, offering different models where they're too similar to each other. Like Phantom GT and Mercurial, aside from the fit, they don't separate each other that well.
They're very similar. But and that, that is a refreshing part. And it's also nice to just basically have a football boot when you look at, outside of the usual marketing fluff, so to speak, with Fuzionfit and all that. It does work. It's nice, but also this is pretty no nonsense. It's just a good fit. That's it. There's going to be a lovely grip on the ball, and let's not forget the new tooling, which is actually brilliant. It's so solid, stiff in the midfoot. New studs they've got a good shape, and I would, in terms of how comfortable it is, how stable it is, I would put this second only to the Regular Cups.
Wow,
it's actually very nice.
That's high praise.
It is. I really, really like it. It's good. It's very well rounded, and something I think a lot of people would enjoy.
It's funny because I feel like we're both like, we're struggling to have like this really exciting thing to say, which I think is like, that's what football boots have become. It's like if you come out with a new model and it doesn't have this new, never been done before, never been seen before technology, it's hard to get excited. But this is a complete redesign of the future. I feel like we've been asking for this for a long time. And it really is a completely different concept. Really, it's only the name that's carrying over for the most part. So,
and look, credit where it's due. They changed something that has worked for them, that has been a great product. They've gone in a new, bold direction with the same goal in mind. They've solved that. They've solved it well. It's a great fitting football boot. It's amazing value for money still at 200 euros. And it's something that if you buy it, you're not going to regret buying it. That's what I think is the best way of saying it. I wouldn't think twice about wearing this, but it just doesn't have the, if I have to choose this on a shelf compared to other boots with fit in mind, would I choose the Future? I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I guess to round out the end of this discussion, in fairness to Puma as well, people always want to compare the big three brands, Nike, Adidas, Puma. What does that really compare to? It really is your standalone option if you're looking for something with kind of a knitted mesh base upper that has some padding to it, because everything else has gone towards this barefoot sensation. So it still is kind of your standalone option if you want you can get a sock-like feel from a Mercurial, but if you want a soft, comfortable sock, then the Future, similar to the previous models, probably still your best option.
Probably, yeah. I think, yeah. You know what? You're right. You're right. Would I choose the
I'm right.
Futures over the Furons, which is also the second most padded out there right now? I think could I get the size right? Yeah, I would. I'd choose them.
Yeah. All right.
Good.
That's
All right.
that's the PUMA Future Z.
But let us
everyone.
know what you think about the new Future Z or C or whatever you want to say based on where you're at in the world. In the comment section right down below. Positive, negative feedback. So if Puma are watching, and I hope they are, well, they can take some feedback for the next couple of Future Z generations, if there will be any. And I guess since Neymar's playing in it, that is highly likely. Sad day for Puma that the Boots debut, on pitch teaser debut, was kind of marred by all that stuff. If there was indeed racism going on, that is absolutely unacceptable, and I hope that it will be punished hard. There can be a lot of misunderstanding. I didn't see it. I was watching the shit show that was the Man United match, which I regret. So it's also a little bit dangerous to judge on, and but I just hope that they find the right solution, and if there was any wrongdoing, that it's punished. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, for sure. On a brighter note, and I meant to bring this up at the start of the podcast, please forgive me. Congratulations on someone finally scoring a goal in one of your boots. That is, and it was quite a goal too.
Wow, I absolutely lost it, man. Obviously, I've told you privately as well, but for all of you guys out there, thank you for all the messages. It's been absolutely wild. My phone, when it happened, my phone exploded. It was, I had to just sit down and just take it in. Take in the moment, just appreciate someone actually scoring in a pair of boots I designed before I started looking at the phone and just, putting something on social media and all that stuff. I just wanted to savor that moment. It was so special. The feedback on the launch itself, selling out in no time was amazing. But the feedback on top of Son scoring,
Yeah, super cool.
So awesome. Thank you, man. It's that was a big moment in the life of JayMike. So let's see if we can follow up on that next year, Puma. I'll happily take Neymar signature boot. Addy, we can do something. Let's see what happens. I'm open. We'll take 10%. It's all good. You know what? Nay, scrap that. I'll actually I'll give up my 10% because I like designing boots.
Oh,
it's all going well.
Very good. Imagine if at any point we ever start collecting some of these 10% offers we've been putting out over the last 92 episodes.
I'm gonna start another. What's the opposite of a problem?
Oh, I guess a solution, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna have a car channel called Car Solutions because I'll be rolling.
It's not the worst idea.
That's not the worst idea ever. Right now, it's not the best idea either because I have one car and it's a decent car. It's a Mazda 3, but it's not the solution.
You know what you need to do? Just completely sidetracking this conversation. You need to get your car wrapped like the F50s that you just did.
That should totally have been in the marketing budget.
That would have been.
Why wasn't that in the marketing budget?
Remember when was it Nike did a Lamborghini or a McLaren for the Vapor 9?
That was Lamborghinis. Cool.
That was cool. I don't know why brands don't do more of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my better half would definitely not appreciate the car having half the drip pattern on it, but let's see. Addy Puma, put this into the marketing budget for the collab, yeah?
That'd be sweet. Come on. What kind of an intro? Imagine the Unisport video for that, where Jay pulls up in a Mazda 3 wrapped like the football boot he's about to talk about. That would be sick. All right. Okay, that's the end of that discussion.
Time for questions. Brede Brennen Naudvik, Norwegian probably. I'm a 13-year-old winger and I'm really trying to improve to become the best in my area. I practice about 4 times a week, but my boots are too small. What boots should I buy? Doesn't have to be cheap. By the way, love the content and I think you are doing an amazing job with the podcast. Cheers, Brede, my man. Look, we've talked about this a lot, but your age and your position doesn't matter one bit when you're choosing boots. For me, it's all about what you're looking for. With that said, if you are the typical winger, you would probably be looking for a boot that is relatively lightweight, tight-fitting, and gives you a somewhat close sensation on the ball. So there's a lot to choose from, Brede. You're in luck. You can either get a Mercurial, in which case I will get the Mercurial Techcraft 2, the black, white, and orange, because that's awesome. You can get the Puma Ultras, really, really nice pair of football boots at a great price. You can get the X Ghosted Point 1s, which is probably the best launch this year in terms of new awesome tech. Mizuno Morelia Neo 3 betas, Japan. One of the finest engineered boots on the market, has awesome durability and just like it's an all-around great boot. Yeah, there's so much stuff. You can also get a Nemesis. It's not a bad choice. It depends on what you want, right? What would be your input here, Josh?
I kind of agree with all of that. I was going to suggest all the same boots for the most part. It's really a personal preference thing. Yeah. I think these really open-ended boot recommendation questions, I think the best advice that I can give anybody is you need to start with the boots that you're interested in, the ones that catch your eye, and then go watch some Unisport videos, go watch some SR4U videos, learn a little bit about what you're interested in, and then you'll have a better idea of what you're getting into. Because ultimately, like, I hate saying this is the type of boot that I'm looking for my playing style or whatever, and then recommending a very specific boot, and that's not really the one you want. Like, our recommendation only means so much. You're the one who has to actually wear them. You have to be happy with them. So whatever catches your eye to start is where you should start.
That's amazing advice, man. That's, taken out of the How to Choose Your Football Boots 101 playbook. Look, man, you can also be a winger and appreciate a pair of Copa 20 Pluses or Mizuno Replica Cups or Jambos or Predators. It doesn't really matter, but you just have to figure out what do you like? What feels good when you play? Do you like the grip? Do you like the close control? Do you like the comfort? It doesn't really matter, but go out, figure out what you want, and then do some research. That's the best way.
Yeah, and probably get some Pure Grip socks as well.
That always helps. I would say
that would help.
You can wear whatever, and you will immediately, spoiler alert, become the best player in your area.
Possibly.
Plus minus sometimes.
Possibly. Yeah. Not guaranteed, but it could happen.
Not guaranteed, yeah. But it might happen. JD Pilan, French, maybe? Could be whatever. Or as we say in Danish, Pilan. JD Pilan. And here I've been thinking more brands need to add purple. I like the purple from Puma, especially with the neon accent. Probably in the, Nemesis, Puma Halloween pack, Fear pack, purple discussion. And then we added the memory lane on top. Has purple come to stay?
I don't mind purple. I had a couple purple boots growing up. Like I had Vapor 5. Remember Vapor 5 had two launch colorways? There was the orange ones with the silver and then the navy. And then there was I think it was called Abyss something.
Yeah.
Those were purple. Yeah, they were purple with a white and an orange swoosh.
Purple Volt, right?
No, it was purple, white on the side, and then an orange swoosh. So it was kind of like the opposite of the orange ones. So I had those as Vapor 5s.
Superfly 3 launched in purple as well.
Yeah, I didn't have those, but I also had the purple Vapor 4 launch colorway as well. So I had two purple Mercurial launch colorways. And purple used to be
was that purple?
It was kind of purple. It was kind of like really dark blue. Kind of looked black navy, from a distance.
Navy, white, blue, right? I'm looking at it here. It's definitely more navy.
You think so?
Yeah. I think Vapor 9 was purple. Launch color.
Purple and pink. Yeah.
Yeah, purple.
With the neon green swoosh, I think.
There's been more purple football boots than I remembered.
There's been a lot when you really start to think about it, and I'm okay with purple. I'm purple over pink boots for me personally.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Yeah, you can do a lot of cool. Okay, coolest purple boot ever.
Oh, jeez. Oh. I hate
simple questions. It's simple.
Okay, answer. What's your answer?
A chameleon purple.
Oh yeah, that's a good. Okay, that's fair. I'm going to agree with you on that. I think that's
you
a
get
good
chameleon
choice.
purple on 2 or 3 boots, right? Actually 2 boots.
Although, you know what? I have to say, I think chameleon purple in leather form was way cooler looking than the synthetic one for whatever reason.
I would actually not agree. I understand what you're saying, and it looks a little bit more. It has a different effect, right? The chameleon purple has a different effect, but the chameleon purple you get on because I had both the leather one. I borrowed from a good friend, Joma, for the launch of the F50 memory lane boots, where we had the synthetic chameleon purple. I think the synthetic is it's just a little more shiny and really adds to that chameleon effect.
Yeah,
I
the
know
effect is more extreme.
Yeah. But it definitely looks nice. I know where you're going. Anyways, completely sidetracked that one. Then we have Joya, trying to pronounce that name correctly. Now that Adidas had remakes of the Mania, the Accelerated, the F50 Adi Zero, F50.6, adding a few here, what do you guys think will be the next remake, or what would you want to see as the next remake from Adidas?
Oh, geez. You know what? I would love to see them dip into like, just because they were a big part of my childhood, I'd like to see some Predator Absolutes come back.
Okay.
I think that would be cool because I had a few pairs of those growing up. I know it's not really widely recognized as like an all-time great,
Sure.
but they had some great colorways. I think it's still got some good style. It's unique because of the way they did the Adidas stripes. It doesn't look like anything they currently make.
Oh, I didn't
Could be cool.
It was the Absolutes are probably pretty far down the list of like the classic Preds for me. Probably only above the Pulses. I never really took to the way they look, but that's just me. But yeah, Absolute would be interesting and would probably be like natural at some point that they do the Absolutes, the Pulses, maybe the Power Swerves. And speaking of Power Swerves, that's probably what I would like to see. And what would yeah. I mean, F50 Adi Zero, I wanted the Sambas. Just go buy the Sambas. But I could have just made them. But I think I want the Adi Powers or the Power Swerves, really.
Yeah, Adi Power would be a cool one to get like one, but I would want a 1-to-1 remake of those.
Adi Pure 4 SL or 11 Pro 2 SLs.
Yeah, that's cool. You're right. Even like an Adi Pure 1, which just aesthetically, I think one of the prettiest boots they've ever made.
They have to do an Adi Pure one. One of the reasons the old boot is so heavy, which is kind of the letdown for me, is the tooling. And with a modern tooling from, let's say, the Copa, it makes sense, right?
Could be sweet for sure. And also, you know what? Like, I know that they've done like Beckham and Zidane colorways of like really old Predators, but there were so many great Beckham colorways of Pulse and Absolute.
Oh yeah.
And he had Power Swerve. Yeah, he had Power Swerve ones. They were kind of weird Climacool variants.
Gold ones, the gold Powers.
But I'm thinking like the ones that I always remember are those blue synthetic Absolutes with the silver and pink accents.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
those are crazy. Like something like that I think could potentially do really well. And people love David Beckham.
And they still do. Like he's just such a nice guy. I met him. I'm kind of still starstruck from that day I met him. It's would definitely be interesting. What wouldn't I like to see Adi do? Definitely stay away from anything Nitro Charge or Predator X. Don't do it. What else should they avoid?
Anything that came. Well, I mean, it's so recent they wouldn't do remakes of it, but the X Messi and Ace line when they first started it, like I don't need any of those back. I'm good, thanks.
Right. Let's do one more question. Well, that was from Noah Classens talking about seeing Son scoring these. How did you react? I mean, what we've all heard. Obviously, I freaked out. But what's it like for you? Because you've obviously heard about the project while it's been going on, and we talk all the time. So, what was it like on the outside to see? Okay,
so I wasn't home, so I wasn't actively watching, but I was like every 5 minutes I was checking this app to see what the score was. Right, just looking to see who was scoring, and then I saw it got updated, and like it was like 1 minute ago, Son scores. I'm like, oh my god! So I go on Instagram. And this is anytime I want to see a goal, I start searching hashtags of like the team or the player and then just go to recent and try to, because someone always posts the clip, right? And then I saw it and I'm like, oh, there's no way that was the goal because it was from a distance, right? And I scroll down more, find another one. Oh my gosh, that's the goal he scored. That was crazy. And then I was like, should I text him? Because I know there's a million people texting him right now, but I texted you anyways.
Yeah.
It was just, because I know the heartbreak that you went through
Man.
the last time this happened. So I can only imagine the relief of that. Because it was a big goal and a big game too. Like it's just cool. Cool for that to happen.
So cool. Yeah. It's been good. It's been good. So thank you again for all the kind messages. We're going to do it again. And with those words, I think it's time that we end episode 92 of the Boot Nerds podcast. Tell us about what you think of the Future Z in the comment section right down below. Don't forget to like the video if you had a good time or just want to see us make more of these. And if you want to get a notification when we do make more, remember to subscribe to the channel with the notifications on by clicking the white bubble in the middle of the screen. Now that we're friends again, you can finally go and follow Josh again by clicking the link, the bubble over his head. Follow us on Unisport. You know what to do. And with those words, I've been JayMike and I approve this message. See you later.
Thanks for watching.